Every time I feel like even the slightest bit of sickness, I'm immediately like cough drops and cough syrup and the whole night. I'm like, then I drink like as much water as I can, like immediately go into overdrive cleanse mode, 100%.
Just to make it through this podcast, I have throat coat right now. I'm going to be spraying myself periodically. You'll see it, Odie. People won't. Hopefully they won't hear it, but I will be spraying my throat so that I can complete this task that we have set out for ourselves.
For 2 seconds, I literally was like, we're in the middle of our podcast and we never introduced ourselves. Because in my head, we've been doing this for like an hour already.
Oh, this is the cold open, baby. We're cold opening.
We're
cold opening. So unless you have something funnier than encroaching sickness, I dare you to have something funnier than encroaching sickness, Odie. I dare you. Do you have anything funnier than encroaching sickness?
I got nothing.
Wow. Wait, no. It's not going. No, we're not doing it like this.
Yes.
Odie. No, you gotta have something.
I don't have anything, Kevin.
Wow, you got nothing. Oh my God.
It was a boring week.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I hope you got more once we start this baby up. You ready to clap?
Yes.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yes. Perfect.
Nailed it.
Every single time. Welcome back to the Unpop Podcast. My name is Kevin Miner. He, him, his. El Capitan todo le siempre. Leaving people singing voicemails. With me as always is
Odie Matthews. The chef.
Wow.
They, them.
Wow.
You know when you
spoken like a true Siri.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. You know when you're
Siri
like,
Matthews.
when Siri messes up like 4 times in a row and you're like, text Kevin.
I told you I have the opposite problem. I actually can't get Siri to not translate what I'm saying.
I know you
because anybody. It's just to entertain myself, and it's always when I'm in the car by myself, and I'm an absolute psychopath for it, and I know it, but I'm just like, call Odie Matthews. And she's just like, calling Odie Matthews.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow. And then I'll be like, call Odie Matthews, ain't it? And she'll be like, I have British Siri, so I'm always throwing like some weird.
I have Australian Siri.
I don't like Australian Siri. Do you have the guy or the girl?
Girl. Don't take that.
Okay, yeah, same. The girl sounds more pleasant. I feel like when you have Siri, like the girl sounds very pleasant, and as soon as I switch over to the guy, I'm like, whoa, calm down, buddy.
Calm down.
You're being rude right now.
Have you heard the Irish Siri?
No.
Fantastic. I encourage it 100%. Try it out.
What is it? Just like kick out? It's like, fuck me.
I wish I could do an Irish accent so bad right now.
Fuck me and fuck you.
Take a right.
You're going to want to take a right there. Listen, you're going to want to take a right. Take a right. Oh, you missed the fucking right. You missed the fucking...
Yeah.
All right.
Fantastic.
We are here doing what we do best. We're talking about the essentials. We're talking about the things that you need in your life, in your fall, in the season of your dreams, in the autumn years, in whatever else I can come up with right now.
If you're in a different hemisphere, maybe it's summer. I'm not really sure.
It's fall must-haves. And because I know we both, without even talking about it, prepared the same thing, on 3, I want you to say what you've brought for the podcast today. Ready?
Wait. All of them? Because I wrote down a few.
No. On 3, just say what you would call this. Right? Like the title for this, for what we're doing. Ready?
Okay. Wait. Title of the episode?
Not the title of the episode, but like what this segment's called.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Fall
5
must
fall
have.
must-haves.
I just left out the 5. I wrote down.
Oh, okay.
more than
Oh,
that.
good. All right. See, that was better than I thought.
I said
thought
fall
you were going to be like
must-haves.
5 fall must-haves. Did you do more than 5?
Yeah. Actually,
Podcast over. That's it. I can't continue like this. You one-upped me. Or at least one-upped me.
I'm just kidding. I didn't read. Yeah, I wrote
You
down
and your
a few.
abundance mentality,
Well, I wasn't
Odie.
sure how many we were gonna do, Kevin.
I'm gonna do 5. I'm gonna
Okay,
let
I'll
you
do
do as
5.
many as you
I'll do
want,
5.
though. All right, cool. Do you want to do it? You do a list and then I do a list, or do you want to do it like
Back
each
and
of us
forth.
does 1 and 1?
Yeah, 1 and 1. You go first.
1 and 1.
Start number 5.
Okay, cool. In no particular order, but definitely in the order in which I care to engage with them. My first must-have is gonna be a little weird for you, but I feel like you'll appreciate it. Now, this comes around every fall. It is adored by many, many, many sheltered white people everywhere. Can you guess what it is?
Pumpkin spice.
No, it's political conspiracy theories.
Oh my god, that's not
Every fall, baby. No, seriously. I love it's cyclical. I think it's because, election time's usually around this year. So like this is when, and right now we're before the 2024 presidential primaries, right? So conspiracy theories, like they're just, if we're talking about a conspiracy theory gumbo, we've just started turning the heat on this pot, baby. This thing is just starting to get working. We're only tossing a couple ingredients in, but I'll tell you what, because I was going to bring a specific theory to talk about, but I honestly think, no, hold on. I
really
feel like
new.
next year, well, I'm sure, I'm sure I know what it is because I love conspiracy theories like a little like popcorn bystander, like you're all idiots. This
That's
is
amazing.
great.
Yeah, 100%.
Look at you all just fumbling over yourselves.
Love it.
But yeah. So here's what I brought instead of bringing a specific conspiracy theory. In light of X, which used to be Twitter, loosening its morals and saying that they're not going to police misinformation as much, both YouTube and Meta are following suit, and they're saying we're going to loosen our policing of misinformation on the internet. And all I can think as I read this article is perfect. Why not just do the thing? Like I feel like at this point, engaging in like political conspiracy theories is like being on the Titanic, but knowing it's gonna hit the iceberg.
Yeah.
Like having seen the iceberg like years ago, right? And just being like, we're gonna hit that someday, and like watch it and be like looking up at the captain and be like, we doing this? And the captain's just like, the people keep saying we gotta do it. And then just grabbing my popcorn and sitting off to the side and being like, all right, let's do it. Yeah, I guess Democrats still eat babies. Yeah, I guess that's still a thing.
Well, that's the funny thing that because you mentioned this today. I read an article. You know that Biden approved some more of the border wall.
Yes.
So there's already,
which is just
So
good job, America. Mwah, bum, bum, bum. Let's play patriotic music here. Ready? Wait. Hey, announce it again, but announce it like you're the most patriotic person. Tell me more about Biden.
Tell you, I'm not.
Say it like you're the most patriotic person in the world.
I have no idea how to act American.
All right, can I try?
Go for it.
All right, cool. Today, President Biden has finally decided to be on the right side of history as he approves more of the border wall. And not only that, I feel like in the coming days he will approve a second border wall so that we might keep out the Canadian scum.
Yep.
How's that?
Bravo. 10 out of 10.
Thank you.
Well, so because of that, there's people on the right that the people that think that Trump is still president. I'm sure you've heard about that. Those people are now like, look, see, we told you Trump is still president. That's why this got approved. It's not Biden that approved it. It's Trump that approved it. And I just think
that's my favorite part about conspiracy theories is they never go away.
No.
Even if you present evidence that they're untrue, the people who are devoutly into conspiracy theories just go, well, you didn't dig far enough. Right? They're like, this hole only goes deeper.
Exactly.
All right, cool. What's your number 5? What do you got?
Okay. So This might be a little different, but for me, number 5 is flannels and hoodies. That is like my favorite part. And today is actually the perfect day to record this because today I woke up and the high today was 48 degrees and we had the windows open.
Yeah.
So I'm in sweatpants and a hoodie. I was wearing a beanie earlier, and it's just when that weather drops like below 65 and every day it's like 60 or like between like 50 and 60 degrees or like 40 and 60 degrees. That is
hell yeah.
The best weather on the planet for flannels, hoodies, sweat. It's like my favorite thing. Just a big
hard
fan.
Agree.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, big agree.
Yeah.
That's awesome. One of my good friend of ours, Maddie Pfeiffer. And
I. Matt Pfeiffer.
Back in the day, we actually had what we called the flannel crew. Like this is peak emo years, right? Like 2009, 2011 time. So we would get together in the fall, and it was like Matt, Travis, Chad, myself, Curve, like a bunch of dudes, and we would all wear flannel and then just drink a ton. And that was the whole point. That was like that's the end of that. We just drank a bunch, and we had creative ways of drinking. Like drink. I love how drinking used to be like a homemade board game, like. Like it was like, well, what rules can we come up with this weekend for how we consume alcohol?
Pretty much. I mean, that's how every drinking game was invented.
Yep. One of my favorite memories of Maddie Pfeiffer and I is sprinting up a local hill after drinking all night with the flannel crew. All of us just sprinting, like just going home. And we decided that the only way to get there was to sprint. And then the next day, we probably had a dozen people just approach us and be like, "Were you guys sprinting last night?" And we were like, "Oh yeah."
So in my hometown where I grew up in Florida, well, I don't want to say my hometown, but where I grew up in Florida, because my hometown's in Indiana. But there's we were known for a couple things, but one of them was this thing called Spook Hill, and Spook Hill was this really steep hill. It was like one of the steepest hills I've ever seen in Florida. And if you pulled up to the line and you put your car in neutral, you would roll backwards, but it would look like you were driving up the hill.
Oh.
But what was really popular to do, and what I did probably around the same time that you were doing this with Matt Pfeiffer, a lot of my friends and I, we had skateboards, and we would take our skateboard, we would drink, and then we'd take our skateboards to the top of that hill and sit on them and ride them down.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it was great until,
That's awesome.
Yeah, so.
Till you get hurt.
Yeah, well.
Happens. All right, cool. Next on my list, are you ready to move on? Are you good with that?
I'm ready. Yes.
All right, next on my list, the arrival of this piece of fall, Odie, it drives fear into the heart of many people who are not yet ready for the season. Can you guess what it is?
Fear the Walking Dead?
No, it's pumpkin fucking spice, baby. That's people who aren't ready for fall get a rude awakening when this pops up at Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks. They're just like, "Oh no, already?" This year, it's been a warm fall, but I gotta tell you, I've already had at least 2 cups of pumpkin spice.
Listen, Kevin. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I was kind of hoping you wouldn't have had this on your list because this is number 1 on my list. Pumpkin spice is number 1.
Pumpkin spice?
Yes. And
okay, cool. Well,
every day for the past week almost, I've been going to my coffee shop, and I've been getting an iced pumpkin spice latte on my way to work. And when I tell you that there's nothing I look forward to more than going into the grocery store and seeing my favorite brand of coffee creamer have that wonderful pumpkin spice just right there on the front. It's my favorite thing. I make pumpkin spice coffee. I've made pumpkin spice treats. I've made pumpkin treats. I make listen. There's 2 flavors in this world, Kevin, that I will do anything to taste. The first one is blueberry. If it's blueberry flavored, I don't care. You can say this.
I kind of knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, I look like a blueberry person, but blueberry is like literally any flavor. It doesn't matter. Blueberry, I'll try it, and then pumpkin spice. I love those 2 flavors. Mwah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I love both those as well. I used to be one of those guys who would hate on pumpkin spice, but then secretly order it. And then one year I was just like, why are you pretending, man?
Yeah.
Why don't you just say that it's fine?
Everybody likes it.
Just be fine with it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I you know what it was? I think it was that, like, at first it was like kind of a cool seasonal thing, and then it took over like culturally. It was like, oh, it's pumpkin spice time.
Yeah.
And I think I just have a natural urge to resist when like a group is telling me to do something, you know? Like, especially something arbitrary that has nothing to do with my, like, well-being either way. Like, when all of a sudden it's, like, a mass thing, I'm just like, nah, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. You guys sold out. I can't. It's no. Like,
Yeah.
that's really what it comes back to is, like, when we were, like, little kids, it was like, oh, they sold out, man. It was like, pumpkin spice sold out. You can't have it anymore. It's sold out.
Honestly, though, there are some places out here where I'll go in, like, the coffee creamer section where it says pumpkin spice will be, like, completely gone.
It makes sense.
It makes sense.
Anyway,
I love it.
So all right. So the challenge now is when we get to your number one, you have to say your number one like you're the most patriotic person in the world. That's the new challenge.
Okay.
Because you represent the country that represents pumpkin spice. So
Gotcha.
that's what we're doing when we get to the top. All right. What's your next?
All right. This is gonna be a little bit of a weird one, but
yeah.
Are you familiar with Rotten Tomatoes' #1 greatest horror movie?
I think we went over this before, so I should be. But I honestly, when you say that, there's like 5 movies that just start rotating in my head.
What if I told you I could guarantee with 100% certainty it is none of those movies?
I would believe you.
So one of my favorite things, and it is the thing that made me love film and cinema, and it's something that I watch at least once a year. Well, no, just once a year. Usually around fall time, because it's considered the greatest horror movie on Rotten Tomatoes, is the 1933, no, not The Invisible Man, but King Kong.
That's a horror movie?
Yep. Apparently, technically. Because back then...
I'm going to Okay.
Back then, it
Go
was,
ahead.
well, I'm just saying, like, back then in the 1930s, that was, like, the start of the Universal monster movies. Because, like I said, in 1933, The Invisible Man also came out. So it was considered...
I get that that's a horror movie. But I would argue that now, if we were to, like, go through, like, let's say we took all the classification off all movies, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's say we took them off of every single movie ever, and we were going back through one by one and reclassifying them. I would say that King Kong would probably not get classified as a horror. Maybe a thriller. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. No, not
Maybe.
these days. But...
Definitely an adventure, right?
Yeah.
But not a horror film. But I did not know that was the #1 horror movie on Rotten Tomatoes. That's really weird.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? But, I mean, when you think about 1933 and the fact that The Invisible Man, which is great, came out, and King Kong... Because of 1933's King Kong, that is the reason we have so much today. I mean, like, it was Peter Jackson's inspiration. It was partially the inspiration for some later Godzilla stories, for kaiju stories, for, like, people like Guillermo del Toro and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it really did a lot, not only for, like, the genre of, like, the creature, like, kaiju type of stuff, but also just the special effects for the time. I mean, when that movie came out, like, that was unheard of to see something like that. We look at it now and it's like, oh, it's pretty bad, but
yeah. Well, here's a funny little tidbit. I actually saw King Kong when I was probably like 4, and I remember as a kid, like, because I had no concept of how great special effects could be. Watching the black and white King Kong, I was like amazed. I was like, oh my God, it's a giant gorilla and it's fighting a dinosaur. Like, it blew my mind as a kid. So I can only imagine how adults in the 30s who, like, you reach a certain point of, like, neural plasticity. You're like, I've seen what this world has to show me. Going to the theaters and then being like, there's fucking giant insects, like, get out of here!
But that's like when
Is that what they have down in Panama? Like, at this point, there was no form of daily news the way that we have it. So, like, King Kong back in the day might have been misinformation.
I mean, I guess. I remember I saw it. I saw it when I was pretty young too, though, and I remember thinking the same thing, which is why, I remember I saw that, and I was like, wow, I really like movies, and I think it was like... grandma, my uncle was the one that introduced me into what I consider my favorite film of all time, 1954, North by Northwest, Cary Grant, Alfred Hitchcock. And that put me on like wanting to watch all of Hitchcock's movies, and then that just made me just love movies as a kid.
I've always loved the scene that opens up with the guy shooting the gun. It's such a good scene. In North by Northwest?
Yeah,
right?
The most famous scene though, probably for special effects, especially of that time, was the biplane.
Mount Rushmore.
Well, and Mount Rushmore, but the biplane chase as well in the cornfield.
Yeah, the biplane for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what was your number?
The next on my list is my number 3. So this isn't the same as yours, but this is definitely a fall essential in that I am, as soon as like this, it actually gets cold, which is next week, I get to bust out all of my comfy ass clothes. Comfy ass clothes are a fall.
That's pretty
must.
close to what I said.
I'm in the Northeast. It's pretty close, but I'm talking cardigans. I'm talking my fur coat. I'm talking like all of the giant baggy stuff that I can wear when I'm not at work. And I'm talking about the cardigans that I can wear at work on dress down days. I'm talking about the comfiest of clothes. I want to feel like I'm talking about scarves.
Love scarves.
Like I want to feel like I'm wearing a blanket in the fall. That's what I want to feel like when I'm outside in the cool fall air. Like if I'm just chilling, I better have some form of a socially acceptable blanket on my person.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank comfy clothes. I mean,
comfy clothes, baby.
Love a good comfy clothes.
I don't know that I classify flannels as comfy clothes. Like there's something comforting about them, but it's not the same as like a chunky knit sweater, right?
Well, that's why I said
I'm a
flannels
chunky
and
knit
hoodies.
Sweater kind of guy.
I'm an oversized hoodie.
Hoodies I wear all year. Like I'll wear a hoodie in the summer if I want to.
I don't do
you
that.
know? So that's why I don't like in the summer, like especially like around a campfire or something, like out at night, like yeah, I'll wear a hoodie.
I reserve
so like
those
hoodies
for
I don't
winter.
classify as fall. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Just me. Because it's too hot. It's just too hot.
Yeah. I just feel like I don't know. I feel like hoodies and flannels can be worn in other seasons, although they are associated with fall, so I'm with you on that. But like comfy ass clothes are only for fall winter.
That makes sense.
Okay.
What number are we at?
So, it's number 3 for you, baby.
Oh. You ready?
For you, yes.
You ready?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Hit me.
All right. I like all of the festivities, and I didn't really know how to classify it, but like there's a bunch of stuff going around in my area where like there's a park where a bunch of people carved a bunch of jack-o'-lanterns, put lights in them, and then you walk through it. There's like a Halloween light display. There's like all the haunted houses start popping up, the fall rides, the pumpkin patches, the apple picking, the places where you can go and pick out a pumpkin and get your apple cider. Like I would consider all of those like the fall festivities, So there's stuff like every weekend that's going on that's like fall related and like fall centric. And those are the things that I just really enjoy,
Orchards, cider.
Yeah.
Cider donuts.
Ooh, I do love a good cider donut.
Halloween,
yes, but I wouldn't classify that as a festivity because Halloween is a holiday. We're talking about fall.
Devil's Night.
Cinco de Mayo?
No, Devil's Night's the 30th. It's the night before Halloween. Haven't you seen The Crow?
Yeah, I was making a joke.
Oh, okay.
Anyways.
Cinco de Mayo. All right. All right, my next one, and this kind of aligns with yours. My next one is spooky movies. And I'm sure we're going to talk about plenty of them. So I didn't want to like just bring a bunch, but I did think about it in that like there are some that I have not seen yet and or have not seen yet this year that I wanted to bring to the table. So 3 movies that I will be watching this month are 1, Beau is Afraid.
Ooh.
2, Talk to Me. And 3, Infinity Pool, the Cronenberg film.
Okay, so
and
I'm
very excited about all of them.
I've seen Talk to Me.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I have not seen Infinity Pool, but Cronenberg is hit or miss because of body horror. So I'd be curious to know what you...
I like body horror.
You have to let me know how that one
body
is.
Horror. Body horror makes me think of like the weird shit that like your goth friend would draw in high school. because I definitely had one of those. Like,
Yeah,
I had a goth friend who would draw weird shit and be like, yeah, this is a guy's intestines just like coming out and like fucking turning into macrame.
It's like what Byron said. He texted about it today. The one, Crimes of the Future.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So I don't mind body horror to some extent. I think I like it more, and I mean this is just because we talked about it recently, but like the Toxic Avenger, RoboCop, like the 80s body horror.
Yep.
I know it's cheap, but like it's a little bit easier for me to deal with.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't like the Saw movies.
And then 3 other things that I have not watched yet this year, but I will be watching again.
Oh.
Because I usually watch these in the fall. The Wailing.
Okay.
Vertigo. Also Alfred Hitchcock. Classic.
Good movie.
Yep. Technically a thriller, more of a psychological thriller than anything. But yeah. But I'd still put it in horror. And then I'm going to try. I don't know how much of it I'm going to get done, but like I'm going to try to rewatch Monster, the anime.
Oh, okay. I was just there's a bunch of monster movies,
which is essentially like I don't know how much time I'm going to have because of the Addams Family musical, but watching Monster I feel like would be a really good thing to do because it's on Netflix right now. It's like 83-ish episodes, and it's come up a few times for me in the past few months where like I've just been talking and I've either recommended it or someone's been like, have you ever seen Monster? And like,
what's it
when
about?
I first watched it, it's so a doctor, it's an anime, and a doctor saves 2 children and then they disappear and the next day their parents turn up murdered. 19 years later, this is all in the beginning. 19 years later, some murders start happening that relatively incriminate the doctor and have to do with people who were around those kids. And so the doctor starts investigating and begins to believe that he may have saved the Antichrist. And then it just goes from there, and it has some of the richest character development I've ever seen. The bad guy is this dude named Johan, and like honestly, it's so well done. It's like it's one of the most realistic and grounding animes ever. It's not like a bottle episode, but it's like a little like self-contained episode about a hitman that I love. Like, oh, it's so good, man. I can't recommend it enough. And it like at the end of each episode, they're showing parts of a fairy tale, but it's a like Slavic fairy tale. And so as you're watching it, you're like, what does this have to do with the show? But they always stop it at like a certain point, and then they do like a little more eventually, and then a little more. And so as you're watching it, you're just like, and I did myself the favor when I first watched it. I didn't like get on the internet and search up like, what does this mean? And like all that stuff. Like I just watched it all the way through, but it ties the story together. It's so good. So I really recommend anybody who watches it goes in blind, just watches it all the way through and thoroughly enjoys it.
Interesting. I'm going to check that one out.
I hope you do. I hope they make it a live action. I really do. I hope Monster gets turned into a live action anime because it's so good. And it's set in Germany.
It reminds me of the comic book. I think it's called Something's Happening to the Children or What's Happening to the Children or something. And it's about a small little town where all the children just keep going missing. And it's like a mystery. Cool. And it's apparently really good. I haven't watched it yet. There's talks about maybe it being a show, which I think would be really interesting. That'd be cool. Apparently it's really good. But to piggyback on your number 2, because my number 2 was my spooky movies. So I'm just gonna go ahead and squeeze those in right now.
Get them in.
So I will be watching, and this isn't something that I normally would do, but just out of curiosity, did you know that there's a Ghostbusters 4 coming out?
Yes.
Okay. So I didn't know that until a couple weeks ago. So we are gonna watch Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, and then Ghostbusters Afterlife, not the 2016 reboot, but we're gonna watch like the trilogy of Ghostbuster
Yep.
movies. I'm a big fan of the first one. I don't remember anything about the second. And I remember liking Afterlife in theaters, but maybe that was nostalgia. So we'll find out.
Perfect.
And then,
Here's what I want to do. After you guys watch that, I want to do an episode where you break down Ghostbusters, and I'm going to bring in Peter Jackson's The Frighteners and Casper.
Okay. Well, I'm also going to be watching Scream, because I'm a big fan of Scream. And then most likely, I watched Toxic Avenger. That was kind of like the kickoff, So I'll probably find some other obscure, random, like 80 horror movies, not like Nightmare and Friday the 13th. Like maybe, I don't know. I'll find like some obscure 80s one.
Here's a really good one that gets overlooked, and it was honestly one of my favorite movies when I was a little kid, and that's kind of fucked up to say now that I'm saying it and I realize it. But have you ever seen Lord of Illusions?
I don't think so.
Big recommend on Lord of Illusions. Huge recommendation on Lord of Illusions. It's from the 90s, I think. But it was I think it's Clive Barker. And it's really are you looking it up?
Yeah. How do you spell it?
All right. Lord of Illusions. ILLUSIONS. Yeah.
I gotcha.
It's from the 90s. Is it Clive Barker?
Yeah. I know what I'm going to watch, though.
What?
I don't know what about that made me
13 Ghosts.
Nah, 1972's Attack of the Frogs.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
I went through a big phase when I was a kid of just loving horror,
Yeah.
Anything and it's funny, it actually started with the movie Alien of all things.
Love Alien.
But after I watched Alien, I was like, that's so cool that they can do all these things. Let me go watch more of these. And so as a little kid, I was finding ways to be able to watch Hellraiser, Silence of the Lambs, just all of the classics,
I think I'll probably
playing the Friday the 13th video game on fucking Nintendo. Such a good time.
All good.
All right, number 1. I want you to go first because we know what it is, and I want to hear how you announce pumpkin spice.
Oh, no, I changed my number 1.
Oh, what? All right, number 1.
Go for it. I just did my number 2.
Okay. I wanted my number 1 to be last.
Okay,
fine.
My number 1 is, and I hope this isn't a cop-out because we already kind of said it, but I wanted to make sure I kept it for last. It's Halloween. Now, look, here's the thing.
Halloween, the holiday or the movie?
The holiday.
Okay.
The holiday.
Both?
No. Well, look, I don't mind the first original Halloween, but the new trilogy of new Halloween movies kind of was lackluster in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So, no, it's just a holiday. I've always been a big fan of the concept of Halloween. I love spooky season. I love, as we've mentioned in this, all the things that come with that. But as a kid, I loved, dressing up to what extent that I could. And I loved the idea of Halloween. I love the idea of spooky stories. It's also my wedding anniversary. So, just lots of reasons to like Halloween.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's very sweet. We're very cute. But yeah, Halloween's just great, man. It is. I've never been a big Thanksgiving or Halloween person. Those holidays have never really done much for me, but
I think you meant to say Christmas. You said Halloween again.
I say Christmas. Edit it. Wait, hang on. I'll do a clean take of Christmas. Now edit that in.
Perfect.
So I don't sound like an idiot.
I'll put it in after. Yeah,
perfect.
It'll be great.
I trust you. But yeah, I think this is a very unpopular opinion, but I think holidays are kind of dumb. A lot of them.
Yeah.
I get that some of them are pretty important in terms of historical standpoints, but
yeah.
Why are we celebrating Thanksgiving? The concept that the Pilgrims sat down with it. We know that's not what it was, so why do we keep up this facade kind of thing? Yeah. But I won't get into that rant. But there's a lot of holidays that I don't like, but Halloween has been one that I'm always this is silly and fun and it's harmless in my mind,
Yeah. Halloween is probably the only Hallmark holiday, or I would say industrial holiday, because the candy companies were hey, dress up, get some candy. It's the only one that I really buy into. All the rest of the industrial or Hallmark
Easter,
holidays, I'm kind of
Valentine's.
But like, I think as I've grown up, I've just learned to frame them differently. And I think it's totally fine for anybody to go through a phase of however long, even their entire life, of not like understanding or caring for holidays. But like, the more I frame them differently, the better I see them, you know, because I used to not be a Thanksgiving person, but now I'm like, it's a good excuse to just get together with friends or family, because so many people do Friendsgiving now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I'll often do both. And then even Christmas, you know, like it's just a good excuse to go be around some people and be warm and happy for a little bit in this cold and dark season. Like, I think that's actually, there's almost something that's like a little bit spooky and fun about that. But yeah, Halloween definitely takes the cake. I'm with you. Halloween all the way. Love it more than anything else. I'm bigger on spooky season than I am on the 25 days of Christmas. But I've told people already, once we hit December 1st, I'm all in. So that's where I'm at.
So what's your number one?
My number one is one of my favorite fall things, and it became one of my favorite fall things the year it came out because it was just amazing, and I loved watching it. My number one is Over the Garden Wall.
Potatoes.
It's perfect.
And molasses.
It's perfect.
It's good.
It's got rock facts. It's these little
Frodo.
Short stories. It's got Frodo playing Wirt, right? Elijah Wood playing Wirt, and his brother Greg is in there, and they're just like, they're so great, and the music from the Blasting Company is so perfect, and then like the little musical numbers that they have, and just how short the episodes are. Like, you can watch it all in one sitting and not feel like you sat around for forever.
Yeah,
you know, like if you watch it all, it basically plays about as long as like a movie, right?
We watched
like
it,
almost like probably 2.5 hours, 3 hours, maybe.
Yeah, we watched it like a week ago.
Maybe. Yeah.
Literally
and
just
like,
watched it.
I've already watched it once, and I'll probably watch it again before October's over. Just because, like, I don't know, it's fun, and it just makes me smile.
Yeah.
Like, it became like a nice little part of fall for me to like sit down with a warm beverage and just watch these boys traverse the space between These boys, spoilers, traverse the space between life and death.
Mm-hmm.
I love that story, and I love the way they wrap it up, and I'm glad that there's not another season of it. I'm glad that like it only existed once. It's so nice.
I did tell you about this. They are doing a live action remake with The Rock and Kevin Hart. So
no, they're not.
Yeah, and Kevin Hart is playing Greg, and The Rock is.
I looked it up, and they're not.
Yeah, no,
they're not.
They are.
No, the Rock is playing the Rock fact. The Rock. That's a rock fact. Just him. He just comes out and says that's a rock fact and points at somebody.
That's great. It's a conspiracy theory.
It would be perfect.
That's
it, man.
That's it.
These are the must-haves. I feel like that's a little anticlimactic, but fall is an anticlimactic season.
It's the perfect
and that might
season.
be what's best about it.
My favorite thing about fall. Well, no. My second favorite thing about fall, besides everything that I just named, is the fact that when fall is over, it's snowboarding season.
Ooh. My favorite thing about fall is that you find out who else is an eccentric and quirky person around you.
Yeah.
Well, seriously, because it like gives us like a license to go be like, hey, I'm a little quirky, right? Like it kind of, you know, like we were talking about with metal bands, like you're kind of like, oh, you too? Yeah, all right, cool, I see you. And it makes it fun. You know, like I get fall and Halloween the same way that like people who love Christmas probably get each other in Hallmark movies, right? They love it.
Yeah.
They love it.
And it's great.
Yeah, my version of Hallmark movies are B horror movies, right? Like it really is the same thing. It's the same seasonal experience as the Christmas experience, but it's just for people who are weird and quirky.
But I will say that the Hallmark Christmas movies are just bad, whereas like the 80s horror movies can sometimes be, and more often are so bad they're good. Because, like,
surprisingly good.
A lot of Hallmark Christmas movies are like, this is Kevin. He's never left his hometown in Kansas. Her name is Shelley. She's from New York City. This winter, fate will bring them together on a pig's Christmas. Don't you get it, Shelley? I got to watch after the pig. You know what I mean? It's always like that. I could keep going, but we get it.
100%.
Yeah.
No, that's every Christmas movie.
Yep. She always settles for some dude that, like, never left their hometown and is mediocre at best.
You know what we should do is we should make a series of Halloween movies about a girl moving to the country from the city and learning to love Halloween more than Christmas. Because she's like, it's Christmas season. And they're like, actually, we do Halloween first. And she's like, what?
This Halloween.
And at the end of it, she's like, I guess that really is the spirit of Halloween. And she's accidentally murdered 3 people.
Yeah, and then she gets like stabbed.
It'd be great.
Yeah. But no, 100%. I agree. I love it.
Cool. I have one tiny little tidbit before we go into our jams.
What's that?
I noticed yesterday that Terrifier 2 is on Amazon Prime.
I just mentioned that in Discord today. To Byron.
I have not been in the Discord today.
Go check. I literally mentioned it earlier. That's so funny.
When you said Byron mentioned a Cronenberg film, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And now you're like, I just mentioned that today. And I'm like, what the fuck?
You've really missed out.
This is what I get. This is what I get for being buried in my work.
That's what you get, Kevin. How dare
That's
you.
what I get. Well, good. I'm glad we have some conversations to be had. What's your jam this week, sir?
So... I, in the spirit of listening to Lil Wayne last week, I listened to 4 albums from Lil Uzi Vert.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. They are... I didn't really know what their music was like before, and...
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that they were a rapper, obviously, but...
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I like it.
Yeah.
I think...
Lil Uzi Vert is in, like, 2 new Bring Me the Horizon songs.
Yeah, they've been kind of doing what Lil Wayne did when Lil Wayne started, which is like do some music, drop some really big beats, and then like kind of do a lot of features and everything like that. I also didn't know that Lil Wayne started rapping when he was 12. Did you know that? Because I didn't know that.
I feel like I did know that. I feel like back in the day when the Cash Money Millionaires were like huge. And Birdman was like the guy repping them like real hard. I feel like I knew that like he would talk about Lil Wayne because Lil Wayne's his nephew, isn't he? Right? Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, Lil Wayne's his nephew, and he was like, yeah, he's been rapping since forever. You know, like they were trying to like. There was a little bit for like a hot minute. There was like a comparison between him and Lil Bow Wow, for like a hot minute.
Wow, I kind of
because they were like Lil Bow Wow's just like this, but even younger. You know, it's like
so it's funny, dude. I
like the way that Hollywood packages things.
Oh yeah, I didn't know until I looked Lil Wayne up. I had no clue that when he would have been like really popular and I was like really hearing him, that he was only in like his 20s. I thought, and I'm not joking, I literally thought, and I told Goose the other night, I was like, I literally thought that when Lil Wayne was like super famous when I was like in high school and stuff, that he was in his 40s. He just turned like 38 this year or something. Like he's not even 40 yet, but my entire life I just always thought that Lil Wayne was like in his 40s or 50s just because he acts and sounds like a 40 and 50-year-old.
Yeah, he has always sounded older.
Yeah, but I listen to a lot more Lil Wayne as well, and I really, really like him, man. Really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down with it.
What's your jam?
The only thing I ever didn't like about Lil Wayne was every now and then he would just get stuck into this mode where he would like the beats would just be so repetitive and his flow wouldn't change a lot. And so like those songs were just hard for me to get through because it's so repetitive, and I get it. Like that's part of the charm for those, but it just wasn't for me. And then there were Lil Wayne songs that were absolute bangers. Right? Yeah. My jam this week, I'm only bringing metal jams for all of October because for metal is like, even if I'm having like the softest of music weeks, even if I'm in like a like an acoustic Florence and the Machine / Bon Iver / City and Color mode, I still will find time for metal music during the week. And one of the best albums that I was reminded of that came out in 2021 was Angel or Alien by Born of Osiris. And it is like a quintessential metal masterpiece. It's so good. It's one of the albums that like incorporates stringed instruments and saxophone and has brutal breakdowns and crazy shredding and like sweep solo picking and just so fucking good.
Never heard of them, but I'll have to check that out.
You've never heard of Born of Osiris?
I don't think so. Maybe I'll recognize their songs.
Really?
So if it's not a band that like,
that honestly surprises me.
Well, so here's the thing. If it's not a band that like I really like know and like, I'll probably recognize their songs, but except for listening to the bands that I like their albums and I listen to them a lot, it's usually just songs that are on a playlist and I'm not always sure of who's the artist is. So if I look them up, there's a chance. Here, I'll look it up right now. We'll see if there's a chance. I might recognize some of their songs.
Maybe. But,
Trials of Osiris?
No, Born of Osiris.
Come on. You had to have known that was a joke.
I did. I knew that was good. Born of Osiris is so good, though. They've been around for a while. Jason Reeves Richardson was their original guitar player, and he has since like gone on to do his own solo thing. And then he does a lot of stuff with Luke Holland, who's like a very well-known metal drummer. But Angel or Alien was like one of my favorite albums of 2021. It was so good, and I remember my first listen through, like getting to that final track and just kind of hearing, like there's a lot of their inspirations are kind of like brought out in that, and you can hear a lot of like this old school Kill Switch vibe to it. It's really good.
I might have to check that out then.
You should. Angel or Alien's such a good album. Big recommendation.
I like it.
All right, that's it, baby. Go be spooky.
That's it.
Go drink a pumpkin spice latte by that border wall, baby.
You got it.
We're still putting it up. I honestly, okay, can I be honest? Like as we're ending this, I honestly read that and I was like, that had to be like a dementia moment. Like that had to be like a thing that just like fell out of his mouth, right? Like
just like accidentally. Like, he's like, wait, what? I said, what?
Let me tell you the scariest thing about spooky season next year. It's that someone who is older than my grandparents would be might run our country. That's the spookiest thing about spooky season in 2024.
I think there's a lot of things spooky about the presidential candidacy of 2024.
Remember I opened up the podcast with the story about the guy who should not be on the road last week?
Yeah.
I feel the same way about a president.
100%.
You shouldn't be steering the course of a nation past a certain age.
If you have to be a certain age to be president, there's a certain age where you shouldn't be allowed to be president anymore.
Yeah, like that's the problem that, other countries run into that have lifelong rulers. That's the problem that they run into.
It's crazy.
Why are we running into this problem? America. All right, that's the end of that. America.